Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and we've got a very sad dialogue today, actually, Marco.
That's right. Today we have a very sad but interesting dialogue of something that happens all the time. Maybe you have a girlfriend, maybe you had a boyfriend, and you break up.
That means you are no longer boyfriend and girlfriend. Let's take a listen to today's dialogue, and we'll be back in a moment to talk about what's going on.
What about you?
I enjoy playing soccer in my free time.
Hello?
Hey, do you want to go out tonight?
No, I think I'll pass. Mark broke up with me. I feel awful.
What? What happened? Just last week you were talking about going on vacation together.
I don't know what I did wrong. He said he needed some space to figure things out. He said I didn't do anything wrong, that I'm a great person, just not the one for him.
That's so cliche. Mark's not worth your time, Lydia. You deserve so much better.
I know we had hit a rough patch, but I had hoped we could work it out next weekend when we both had some time off. I think he found someone else. I had been getting suspicious because he had been spending a lot of time with a coworker.
Whatever. He's a jerk. Forget about him. There are many more fish in the sea.
Talk about being cliche, Maggie. But you're right. There's no use for me to sulk around. Let's go out tonight.
That's interesting. Do you enjoy your
All right, we're back. So obviously this girl, Lydia, is very torn. She's very sad because her boyfriend broke up with her.
That's right. She's crying the whole time this dialogue was going on.
That's right. So, but she did mention, her and her friend mentioned some interesting things. Why don't we take a look at some of the words they used on Language Takeaway?
Language takeaway.
teaching has always been my calling.
So first of all, her friend says, "Hey, do you want to go out tonight?" And what does Lydia say?
She says, no, I think I'll pass.
All right, I think I'll pass. I will pass. So what does this verb mean, to pass?
So that means she is politely rejecting the offer or the invitation.
So no thanks.
No thanks. That's basically what it means.
I won't go. So, hey, Marco, you want to go see a movie in a couple hours?
No, I think I'll pass. I got homework to do.
All right, so Marco will not come. That means to decline an invitation.
That's right. So that's what it means to pass. Now, as they continue to talk, they mention some of the problems with her boyfriend, but Maggie said, ugh, that's so cliche.
So the boyfriend said something, and Maggie thinks that what he said was very, very cliche.
So what is something that is cliche?
Cliche means something that is said or done very often. It's almost like we would expect it.
So like, for example, what's a cliche phrase or a cliche action?
Well, in the dialogue, they were talking about ways of breaking up with people. So, for example, it's not you, it's me. Let's break
right.
up. So that's a cliche because it's a sentence, it's a phrase everyone always says. It's not very, maybe not very honest.
Okay.
Or like a movie cliche would be, a couple, they're getting married, but their parents, the parents of the bride, they're
don't like-
divorced. They hate each other.
Uh-huh.
But then at the wedding, they get back together. They're going to get married again. That's a cliche story.
That's right.
Because you've heard it before.
Right. All the time. It's very common.
So something that's very common, something that you would expect, that's a cliche. And a cliche, calling something a cliche is not a good thing. It's usually a bad thing.
That's right. Okay. So Maggie goes on to say that, this guy, Mark, her ex-boyfriend, he's not really worth it. She says, you deserve so much better.
Okay, so to deserve is a verb, and it means that you should receive something or you should expect something. So almost like, in this case, you deserve better. You have earned something better. You're a good person. You should receive you should have a good boyfriend.
That's right. So when she says you deserve so much better, she's talking about deserving a better guy, a better man.
Or for example, so Marco, you work so hard at school. You're always doing your homework. You really deserve good grades. That means
okay.
you should receive good grades.
Very good. Now, when Lydia said, yeah, you know what, I just thought we were having some problems, and we had hit a rough patch. So she's talking about a rough patch. What is that?
A rough patch is actually something we talk about a lot in spoken English. It's a way to describe a period of time, so maybe a week or a month, when things are difficult, when maybe you argue with your boyfriend or girlfriend, or when you're sad a lot, or when you're confused. And so a period of time when you're angry or sad with your boyfriend or girlfriend, that's a rough patch.
So maybe we can apply a rough patch to another situation, like at work. Maybe you're going through a rough patch at work.
That means I'm always busy, I'm always tired, I don't feel happy with my job, I'm going through a rough patch.
So it's usually a temporary period of time where things are going bad.
It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year,
Okay.
but it's a fixed amount of time. It's not forever.
Right.
It's just a period.
Okay, very good. And Lydia went on to say that, she thought that maybe he was going out with someone else, and she was suspicious because he was spending a lot of time with some other girl.
Okay, so to be suspicious is to think that something is happening, but you don't know. So, for example, Marco, I think you've been taking the milk from the kitchen. You are always drinking coffee, and you always take milk in your coffee, and there's no more milk, so I think it was you. I'm being suspicious. I'm thinking that maybe you did something bad or wrong.
That I'm guilty. So maybe you're suspicious that someone is stealing the milk, or maybe you suspect or you're suspicious that your next door neighbor is maybe a car thief.
Right, so you're very suspicious. That means you're always thinking that this person or someone else is doing something bad.
That's right. Okay, so a lot of words there, talking about relationships, talking about cliches. Why don't we go back? Let's listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back in a bit with Fluency Builder.
I have a dog named Max.
Dogs are so loyal.
Hello?
Hey, do you want to go out tonight?
No, I think I'll pass. Mark broke up with me. I feel awful.
What? What happened? Just last week you were talking about going on vacation together.
I don't know what I did wrong. He said he needed some space to figure things out. He said I didn't do anything wrong, that I'm a great person, just not the one for him.
That's so cliche. Mark's not worth your time, Lydia. You deserve so much better.
I know we had hit a rough patch, but I had hoped we could work it out next weekend when we both had some time off. I think he found someone else. I had been getting suspicious because he had been spending a lot of time with a coworker.
Whatever. He's a jerk. Forget about him. There are many more fish in the sea.
Talk about being cliche, Maggie. But you're right. There's no use for me to sulk around. Let's go out tonight.
Thank you, Marco.
All right, we're back. So now let's take a look at some of those phrases on Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
All right, so Marco, these are cliche phrases that we hear in English when people are breaking up. Okay, so there's some breaking up phrases, but there's also phrases that you might hear from your friend after you have a breakup. Okay, the first phrase we're going to look at, I think, is to need space. So
Right.
He said he needed some space.
Right, and that's a cliche phrase, as we said, but it means that maybe her ex-boyfriend or Mark needs more space, needs more time to be on his own, or needs more time to do his own things.
That's right. So when you're in a relationship, you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you're always together. I need some space means I want to be alone. I don't want to be with my boyfriend or girlfriend. Sometimes this is just a small period. Sometimes it's forever. It depends.
That's right. So when somebody says that they need space, it means they need a little bit of more time to be on their own, or to be alone, as you said. And also, he had also given her another cliche phrase. Mark said that she is not the one for him.
Okay, so the emphasis here is the one.
The one, that's right.
She's not the one for him. So in English, we often talk about the one, and this means the person that you will marry, the love of your life.
Your significant other, your other half.
That's right. And so you hope that you will marry the one. But her boyfriend realized, he said, listen, I like you, but you're not the one.
Right.
You're not the person that I will marry. So this is a phrase you often hear in breakups.
So if you're single, maybe you don't have a boyfriend or you're not married, you might say that you haven't found the one.
Or yeah, you have a lot of different boyfriends, but you still haven't found the one. That means the one you will marry.
That's right. Okay, very good. And now towards the end of the dialogue, Maggie also gives her some advice and said, you know what? Forget about him. There are many more fish in the sea.
Okay, so this is a phrase that we often say when we're trying to make somebody feel better. So the person is sad and we want to make them happy. And so there are many more fish in the sea means that there are other men in the world. Okay,
right.
You're sad. You broke up. I understand. But there are so many other men you could date. So she's trying to say, hey, listen, look at this world. There's so many different options.
That's right. So it's the similarity of how in the sea you have so many fish, in the world you have so many men, so don't worry about it.
And you can say this about women too. So, for example, if I'm talking to my male friend or my brother, and my brother just broke up with his girlfriend, I can say, hey, listen, there are many more fish in the sea.
That's
many
right.
other women.
So don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You'll be okay.
And Lydia says, you know what? I think you're right. And there's really no use for me to sulk around. So what does she mean to sulk around?
To sulk. Now, this is something that is very visual for me. I see somebody sulking. Their head is low. They're sad. Someone who is sulking often wears their sweatpants or their pajamas. They don't make
change.
themselves look good. To sulk around means to be in your house, to be sad, to watch TV and eat ice cream. So stop sulking. Don't look sad. Be happy.
Right.
So to sulk is to act sad and to, be very down.
So it's kind of like it's kind of a combination of being lazy and also sad at the same time because
Exactly.
something bad happened to you.
Exactly. And so we often say that in English, teenagers like to sulk. Oh, I'm so angry at my parents. And your parents will say, hey, stop sulking. Go
That's
study.
Right, that's right. Very good. Okay, so a lot of great phrases here. I think we can go back. Let's listen to this dialogue one last time.
Yes, I love painting and reading. What about you?
I enjoy playing soccer. Cooking in my
Hello?
Hey, do you want to go out tonight?
No, I think I'll pass. Mark broke up with me. I feel awful.
What? What happened? Just last week you were talking about going on vacation together.
I don't know what I did wrong. He said he needed some space to figure things out. He said I didn't do anything wrong, that I'm a great person, just not the one for him.
That's so cliche. Mark's not worth your time, Lydia. You deserve so much better.
I know we had hit a rough patch, but I had hoped we could work it out next weekend when we both had some time off. I think he found someone else. I had been getting suspicious because he had been spending a lot of time with a coworker.
Whatever. He's a jerk. Forget about him. There are many more fish in the sea.
Talk about being cliche, Maggie. But you're right. There's no use for me to sulk around.
I work as
Let's go out tonight.
at an advertising agency.
That's interesting.
All right, so talking about breakups, these cliche lines, and well, Maggie's obviously upset. What other cliche lines or breakup phrases have you heard apart from "It's not you, it's me," "You're just not the one,"
I need some space.
"I need some space."
I think of you more like a friend, because there's like a boyfriend or girlfriend, but then there's a friend. And so, listen, I like you, but I think of you more like a friend.
Yeah, I think that's a typical one, especially if you're asking someone out on a date. They might say that, oh, I really like you, but I see you more as a friend than anything else.
So there's another one that's very popular. Sometimes you hear people say, I'm just not ready for a relationship.
And that's also a cliche line.
Or I'm not ready to commit.
I'm not ready to commit. Yeah. And it's interesting because I think breaking up is one of the hardest things that people can do. And I think maybe this is why you just use one of these phrases that are so popular and common, because I guess it's kind of a good way to explain in very soft terms what you want to say and to break up with someone.
That's right. And I think that sometimes people are afraid to make the other person sad. And so they say these things that are very, general, like it's not you, it's me.
Right.
But sometimes this makes the other person even more sad because they don't understand why that they're breaking up. So
What about breaking up over the telephone or breaking up with a letter?
oof. Generally, at least in America, we say that breaking up over email or letter or phone is not a good way to end a relationship. It's very cold.
It's very cold. So the other person would be very angry if that happened.
That's right. You just want to see the person and say, listen, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this
Right.
face to face.
Okay. So this is actually very interesting because as we say, maybe in other countries or in other cultures is not really a negative thing to break up over the phone or maybe send an email saying, you know what, I don't want to see you anymore.
Right. So I'd be very curious to hear about you guys and your cultures and what happens when people break up where you live. So let us know. Our website is englishpod.com. We hope to see you there. And of course, we hope that you haven't had any very bad breakup experiences. But if you're comfortable sharing, we'd like to hear about your culture and your background.
All right. So we'll see you guys there.
Bye.
Bye.
I enjoy action and adventure movies myself.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we're talking about where people come from or nationalities.
That's right. Many people come from many different countries, just like our listeners, and there are specific words or adjectives and nouns to describe people. Like, for example, somebody who is from China.
A Chinese person.
That's right.
So in your case, Marco, you are an Ecuadorian.
That's right. So that means I come from the country Ecuador.
I, on the other hand, am an American. I come from America.
That's right. So we have a lot of these examples. Why don't we jump into the dialogue? Let's see where all of the people from this international class are from, and we'll be back to talk about it.
Erica, it's been great getting to know you.
Hey, how was your first day of class? I'm in level 2 and I'm loving my class this semester. It's great being in a class of international students.
Mine was okay, except that no one in my class speaks English. I guess it will force me to converse in Chinese more in class, so at least I should improve a lot this semester.
That's both fortunate and unfortunate. It's the United Nations in my class. We have people from all over the world. There are 3 Germans, a Pole, a Scot, 2 French, an American, a Brazilian, a Chilean, a New Zealander, though he prefers to call himself a Kiwi. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a Moroccan, a Togolese, a Pakistani, and 2 Indonesians.
That's quite the array of nationalities. Everyone in my class is from Asia, except me. There are a few South Koreans, several Japanese, Malaysian, Thai, Singaporean, Filipino, Kazakhstani, and 1 Russian.
Well, I think you're pretty lucky, actually. You'll have the opportunity to learn so much about Asian culture.
I guess so. But I think it's going to be hard to relate to my classmates, especially with the language barrier. I think I might change classes.
Don't! Stay the course! Your spoken Chinese will be eternally grateful. I bet you it will even surpass mine with all that practice.
I highly doubt it. Your girlfriend is Chinese.
Well, there is that, yes.
I'm an only child, but I'm very close to my
So the student jokes that their class is kind of like the United Nations. So it does sound like it. We have so many different nationalities that we're going to look at them in 2 groups today. But the United Nations, as you know, is a political group that has people from all over the world who make decisions about politics and the environment, things like that.
That's right. So why don't we take a look at these nationalities now on Language Takeaway.
Labrador Retriever.
Language takeaway.
Keeps me on my toes.
The first few are from Europe. So these are some European nationalities. We've got German. Where's a German from?
A German is from Germany.
Okay, so next to Germany, we have another country, Poland. What do we call a person from Poland?
You call that person a Pole.
So is this for a woman and a man, or is this just one gender?
Yeah, it's for both.
Okay, so Pole.
Yeah, a girl that's from Poland would be also a Pole. Now, someone that comes from Scotland, on the other hand,
That would be a Scot. Or if it's a man, a Scotsman.
Scotsman. Okay. Now, this is interesting because we are mentioning the nouns of these nationalities, like, for example, German. Now, when we took a look at Pole from Poland, what would be the adjective? Do I say I am Pole?
I am Polish.
Okay.
Or if you want to use the noun, I am a Pole.
Okay.
But the adjective can be used for things as well. I love to eat Polish sausages.
Okay. Or, for example, something from Scotland, you can say, I love Scottish whiskey.
Or I love Scottish kilts, those skirts. All right, so that's the adjective. But in the case of France, the country France, we have to say, as a noun, he is a Frenchman.
Okay, and if it's a woman, a French woman.
That's right. Or in the case of an adjective, I love to eat French bread.
Okay, now moving on to South America, we took a look at a Brazilian and a Chilean.
Okay, so Brazilian. In this country, there are many Brazilians. And Chile, or Chile, as many Americans say, has people called Chileans.
Some people say Chilean, so I don't know, I guess the accent varies a little bit. Now, why don't we move back to the other side of the world? We have a New Zealander.
All right, so many of you have heard of Australia. Maybe New Zealand is not as famous. It's a small country near Australia. And the people who come from there are called New Zealanders. It's very hard to say those sometimes, especially when we have to use the adjective, New Zealand.
That's right. So the student said he prefers to call himself a Kiwi.
All right, so kiwi was a special kind of bird that could only be found in New Zealand, and so this became a very popular symbol for New Zealand. And now people from New Zealand call themselves Kiwis. So I could say I have many Kiwi friends.
That's right, okay. Kiwis. So now if we go to the African continent, we have Moroccan and Togolese.
So Morocco is in North Africa, and a person who comes from there is Moroccan. You can also say, I like to eat Moroccan food, which is very popular. But when we talk about the country Togo, what do we call a person from that country?
Togolese.
Togolese.
Okay, so it's Togo. That's the way you pronounce it. Because if you look at it, I would say to go. Right, but it's not to go, it's Togo.
Or as my French-speaking friends would say, Togo.
That's right.
All right, so that's our first set of nationalities. Let's listen to today's dialogue one more time, and we'll be back in a moment to discuss the other nationalities.
It's nice to unwind with a good movie after a long day.
Hey, how was your first day of class? I'm in level 2 and I'm loving my class this semester. It's great being in a class of international students.
Mine was okay, except that no one in my class speaks English. I guess it will force me to converse in Chinese more in class, so at least I should improve a lot this semester.
That's both fortunate and unfortunate. It's the United Nations in my class. We have people from all over the world. There are 3 Germans, a Pole, a Scot, 2 French, an American, a Brazilian, a Chilean, a New Zealander, though he prefers to call himself a Kiwi. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a Moroccan, a Togolese, a Pakistani, and 2 Indonesians.
That's quite the array of nationalities. Everyone in my class is from Asia, except me. There are a few South Koreans, several Japanese, Malaysian, Thai, Singaporean, Filipino, Kazakhstani, and 1 Russian.
Well, I think you're pretty lucky, actually. You'll have the opportunity to learn so much about Asian culture.
I guess so. But I think it's going to be hard to relate to my classmates, especially with the language barrier. I think I might change classes.
Don't! Stay the course. Your spoken Chinese will be eternally grateful. I bet you it will even surpass mine with all that practice.
I highly doubt it. Your girlfriend is Chinese.
Well, there is that, yes.
Do you have any hobbies?
All right, we're back. So now we have more nationalities prepared for you. So let's take a look at those now on Language Takeaway Part 2.
Free time.
That's
Language takeaway.
any siblings?
Yes.
We're in Asia for this part of today's lesson, so we're going to start with a country called Pakistan. What do we call the people from Pakistan?
We say they are Pakistani.
Okay, so in Chicago, for example, there are many Pakistanis.
Okay. And moving on to Southeast Asia, we have Indonesians.
All right. Indonesia is the country, and people who come from there are Indonesian.
Okay, very good. Now, if we go back to the north part of Asia, we have South Koreans.
So we have North and South Korea on our maps. A person from North Korea is North Korean, and a person from South Korea is South Korean. It's kind of like that same structure, American, Brazilian, Korean.
Very good. And moving to the island of Japan, we have Japanese.
So this is an adjective. We're talking about a Japanese person. He is Japanese. Or we can also talk about the food, like sushi is Japanese food.
That's right. Okay, moving back to Southeast Asia again, we have Malaysia. So people from Malaysia are called Malaysian.
Okay, again with this pattern. Malaysian, Korean.
That's right. And I think you say Malaysian food or you say Malay? I've heard some people say Malay.
I've said Malaysian food generally, but Malay I think is one of the languages, and I think it's an ethnic group as well. So you can have Malay people in Singapore, for example.
Okay. And actually we have Thai people and Singaporean. So we have two countries there, Thailand and Singapore.
So Thai is the adjective to describe things that come from Thailand. It's kind of unusual. It doesn't fit that pattern that I mentioned, but it's a very important one to remember if you like to eat food from this country, Thai food.
Yeah, excellent food. And Singaporean food is also pretty good, and people from Singapore are also called Singaporean.
Here we've got a very tricky one. We've got the country, the Philippines. What do you call a person from the Philippines?
So the Philippines is actually spelled P-H-I, like Philippines, right? But if somebody is from the Philippines, we say Filipino with an F.
All right, Filipino. This is interesting, especially for people who are native Spanish speakers, because the Philippines was a Spanish colony for a very long time, and so you might hear someone refer to himself as a Filipino. He's a man, or if she is a woman, a Filipina. So this is very similar to the Spanish structure of having a gender on the end of the word.
That's right. And well, now we're moving on to Kazakhstan and Russia. We have people that are from Kazakhstan and Russia, and we say they are Kazakhstani.
So this is very common in that part of the world to end the adjective in an I, like Afghanistan, Afghani, Pakistan, Pakistani, Kazakhstan, Kazakhstani.
Right.
And so these are the stands, the former USSR.
That's right.
So this is a very important structure to remember. But Russia is pretty easy.
Yeah, people from Russia, you say they are Russian, or you have Russian food. Really
I love
good.
Russian food.
All right, so we have a lot of different nationalities there, and obviously we didn't cover all of them. I think, I don't know, maybe 200 nationalities. So why don't we listen to the dialogue again, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more about this really interesting topic.
Hey, how was your first day of class? I'm in level 2 and I'm loving my class this semester. It's great being in a class of international students.
Mine was okay, except that no one in my class speaks English. I guess it will force me to converse in Chinese more in class, so at least I should improve a lot this semester.
That's both fortunate and unfortunate. It's the United Nations in my class. We have people from all over the world. There are 3 Germans, a Pole, a Scot, 2 French, an American, a Brazilian, a Chilean, a New Zealander, though he prefers to call himself a Kiwi. Who else do we have? Oh, we have a Moroccan, a Togolese, a Pakistani, and 2 Indonesians.
That's quite the array of nationalities. Everyone in my class is from Asia, except me. There are a few South Koreans, several Japanese, Malaysian, Thai, Singaporean, Filipino, Kazakhstani, and 1 Russian.
Well, I think you're pretty lucky, actually. You'll have the opportunity to learn so much about Asian culture.
I guess so. But I think it's going to be hard to relate to my classmates, especially with the language barrier. I think I might change classes.
Don't! Stay the course! Your spoken Chinese will be eternally grateful. I bet you it will even surpass mine with all that practice.
I highly doubt it. Your girlfriend is Chinese.
Well, there is that, yes.
All right, we're back. So, talking about nationalities, I think there's one that we didn't mention that's very, very popular. People from Ireland.
Okay, so people from Ireland are called Irish.
Irish.
The Irish or Irishmen. This is a similar structure to a lot of those countries in Northern Europe, like Sweden and Finland.
That's right. So somebody from Sweden would be called Swedish.
Yes, or a Swede is the noun. So I love to eat Swedish food like salmon. But the similar structure applies to Finland. In Finland, they're very famous for their Finnish bread.
Finnish. So that's the way that you say finish, with double N, right?
That's right. It's not like I finished my homework. It's like F-I-N-N-I-S-H, finish.
Finish. And now, what about people from Denmark?
They are Danish.
Danish. Mm-hmm. And what about people from Norway?
They are Norwegian, so that's one that does not fit the pattern.
And this is a very interesting one that also doesn't fit the pattern at all. People from Holland.
Okay, so Holland as a country has two names. We sometimes say Holland. We sometimes say the Netherlands. But a person who comes from Holland is called Dutch. He is Dutch.
That's right. So it doesn't have to do with neither Holland. You don't say a Hollander, or Netherlands. You don't say Netherlander. It's Dutch.
Dutch. You'll also read this on like cookie tins. You know, boxes for cookies, Dutch style cookies.
That's right.
All right, so that's a very important one when it comes to food. But we're very curious to hear about where you come from. You should try some of the new vocabulary words that we have introduced here. Talk about your friends or your family, but also tell us if we didn't include your nationality.
That's right. All right, so we'll see you guys there.
EnglishPod.com. Bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we are cleaning, right, Marco?
That's right. Today we are cleaning our house. It's not one of our favorite activities, but we have to do it. And so we're going to take a look at a lot of great vocab related to, household chores.
That's right. So let's take a listen to today's dialogue.
Teaching has always been my calling. I love helping children learn and grow.
Kevin, what is this mess? It looks like a pigsty in here. Clean this up.
Okay, Dad. I will do it in a minute. Let me just finish this level of this game.
No, I said now. Plus, you are grounded. You're not allowed to play video games. I want you to make your bed, do the laundry, and then come downstairs and sweep the floors.
That's so unfair.
You have to pull your weight around here, young man. My house, my rules.
But I already mopped the floors, dusted the furniture, and vacuumed the rugs.
That's great, but you still have work to do, so get to it.
Italian food is delicious.
So today on Language Takeaway, let's take a look at all the verbs and all the ways that we have to clean the house. So starting with the first one, we have to make the bed. Make your bed.
Make your bed. Okay, so this might sound quite strange because the verb to make is something we say for a lot of different things, like
Right.
make a deal.
Make a mistake.
Make a mistake. But here we're making the bed. That means we're putting the pillows on top of the bed and we're going to make sure the blanket is even. So, when you get out of bed, if everything is very messy, when you make it, you put everything in order on your
That's
bed.
right. That's right. And it's also confusing because our next verb is to do the laundry.
All right, so you make your bed, but you do the laundry.
Right.
The laundry here means you clean the dirty clothes.
Right, right. So this is one of the very, I would say, confusing parts of English where it's kind of confusing when to use the verb make, when to use the verb do. So usually you make a mistake, as we say it, or you make a cake, but you do your homework. So it's just, in these cases, you just kind of have to memorize that you make the bed, but you do the laundry.
Exactly. So this is very common, actually, to do the laundry. I have to go do the laundry today because it's an event. You have to gather your clothes and put in the detergent and wash it and dry it. So just remember, make the bed, do the laundry, but then how do we clean those floors?
All right, so the floor, we have to do two things. We sweep the floors. So the verb there is to sweep. And how do you sweep?
You actually use a broom to sweep. So the broom is like a straw. It's like a brush almost that you use on the floor, and you collect all of the hair and the dust and these things, and you put it into the garbage bin.
Right.
But after you sweep, then you need to use water to clean, because obviously sweeping is just for dry things. Mopping is actually how you clean with water and soap.
That's right. So now the verb there is to mop the floors, and usually you use water, you use soap, and you use a mop. So you use a mop to mop.
Exactly. The verb is to mop. The noun, the object, is a mop, like you say. So I'm going to mop the floors, right? So please don't come into the kitchen.
Right. Right, okay. And, well, now we need to clean the furniture. And usually on the furniture we have a lot of dust. So we need to dust the furniture, to dust.
To dust. Yeah, this is something we don't use for the floors, really, because we have this great verb to sweep. But with furniture and things like that, we say to dust. And this means we're going to collect the dust off of the piano or the sofa or the table.
Right, exactly. And now the floors we clean, the furniture we clean, but sometimes we have rugs or we have carpet in our house, usually in the bedrooms, or we have a large rug in the living room, and we need to clean that as well, but we don't really mop it, we don't sweep it. It's best to vacuum it.
All right, so the verb is to vacuum, and what is the noun, the thing we use?
A vacuum cleaner.
A vacuum cleaner, or just simply a vacuum. Now, this is something that uses air to suck up all of the dirt and garbage. So it goes, and it sucks up all of that bad stuff. And so we don't have to dust it. And obviously with carpet, we can't really use water. So this is a great tool for cleaning fabric like carpets and rugs.
Very good. So that's all the ways that we can basically, the verbs that we use to clean around the house. Let's listen to the dialogue again and we'll be back in a bit.
Family is important. Do you have any pets?
Kevin, what is this mess? It looks like a pigsty in here. Clean this up.
Okay, Dad. I will do it in a minute. Let me just finish this level of this game.
No, I said now. Plus, you are grounded. You're not allowed to play video games. I want you to make your bed, do the laundry, and then come downstairs and sweep the floors.
That's so unfair.
You have to pull your weight around here, young man. My house, my rules.
But I already mopped the floors, dusted the furniture, and vacuumed the rugs.
That's great, but you still have work to do, so get to it.
So, what do you do for work, Erica?
All right, so now let's take a look at some phrases, 3 of them on Fluency Builder.
I love working.
Fluency Builder.
That sounds
All right, now the first word here is pigsty. The dad says, Kevin, it looks like a pigsty in here. Clean this up.
Right, so a pigsty. It looks like a pigsty. Now, a pigsty is where pigs live, right?
That's right.
So, is it really a pigsty?
It's not really a pigsty. There are no pigs living there, but to say that a room is like a pigsty means that it's very, very, very dirty.
Right, that it looks almost like the mud and the dirty place where pigs live.
Exactly. So he's saying you're living in a dirty room. You need to clean this.
Right, so a room or a house will look like a pigsty. Now, the dad is actually making him do a lot of work because he says the kid is grounded.
You're grounded. You're not allowed to play video games. Now, a parent will ground a child, it's a verb, when the child does something bad.
Right.
So maybe the child gets very, very bad grades at school. And the parent says, you're grounded for 1 week. That means you can't go out, you can't play video games.
Right.
There are different rules in every family, but to say you're grounded means you're being punished for something.
Right. So the verb is to ground, and you can also be grounded. And if you're grounded, you can say, I'm sorry, I can't go out today. I'm grounded.
Exactly. So to be grounded is not a fun situation. But obviously the father is saying, listen, you're grounded. You have time to do all of this work.
Right. And, well, this is something that my dad used to say to me. Well, you have to pull your weight around here. So you have to pull your weight around here. What does that mean?
To pull your weight. Well, you think about it. If you're not carrying yourself, someone else is carrying you. That means that they're doing more work than they should be.
Right.
So you're basically being asked to do your part, to be responsible for yourself so that other people like your mom and dad don't have to be responsible for you.
Right. So you have to help out and collaborate.
Exactly. So say there's 3 people, mom, dad, and a son. If mom does all the cleaning, all the cooking, all the washing, then the other two, they're not pulling their weight. So
Right.
she says, pull your weight.
Right,
Do
right.
some cleaning, do some washing.
Right. So if your mom cooks and then you wash the dishes, then you are pulling your weight. You're helping.
You're
in a
helping
way.
out. Exactly.
All right. A lot of great stuff. Let's take a listen to the dialogue one last time.
Action movies can be thrilling. Do you have a favorite movie?
Kevin, what is this mess? It looks like a pigsty in here. Clean this up.
Okay, Dad. I will do it in a minute. Let me just finish this level of this game.
No, I said now. Plus, you are grounded. You're not allowed to play video games. I want you to make your bed, do the laundry, and then come downstairs and sweep the floors.
That's so unfair.
You have to pull your weight around here, young man. My house, my rules.
But I already mopped the floors, dusted the furniture, and vacuumed the rugs.
That's great, but you still have work to do, so get to it.
They provide an escape from reality, even if it's just for a couple of hours.
Okay, very good. So doing household chores, not a fun thing, but also being grounded. Why do we consider chores to be kind of like a punishment?
Well, there's punishment where you sit alone in your room and you think about your actions, and then there's punishment that's more proactive.
Right.
Mom and dad say, okay, well, he's grounded. Let's have him work.
Let's make them do something.
Let's make him do something so that, we're benefiting from his punishment. I think it's also good when children are grounded because it makes them realize that, they need to help out around the house, that it's this work, it doesn't get done magically. There's
Right.
actually someone doing it.
Right. And it's not like, in many cases, in many countries, people will have, like we saw in our previous lesson, a domestic maid, a cleaning lady, that will usually do everything. So maybe the kid will become very comfortable and not really do anything.
Or very lazy.
Very lazy.
Even worse, yeah.
Right.
So I definitely remember in my house we had chores because when it's not punishment, when it's your parents' expectation normally, that's called a chore.
Right.
And they say, okay, Catherine, your chores this week, you need to take the garbage outside, you need to wash the dishes, and you need to make your bed every day.
Right.
And then maybe my brother had to help cook and clean the floor, mop the floors and
Right.
sweep. So we have different chores.
Right. And I guess this is more common, especially if both parents work and everyone is collaborating or pulling their weight in the house. And if you don't have a cleaning lady, for example.
Exactly.
Very interesting topic. Well, that's all the time we have for today. If you guys have any questions, any comments, you can find us at englishpod.com.
We hope to see you there.
We'll see you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Do you have any pets?
Yes, I have a